Hello, welcome to my page. Yes, so today I'm going to be reviewing the book Xala by Usman Sembene. All right, so we are going to be looking at the summary, the characters, and the themes of the book. So, without taking too much of your time, I'm going to get right into it. If you need to get your pen, if you need to pause to jot things down, please do that. And please do me a favor by just clicking on that subscribe button. Please, thank you so much. And you can switch on your notification bell so you can know when I drop other videos. So let's get right into it. So this novel was written in 1973 and it was turned into a movie by the author himself. So the first scene, we have a man here on a red beret. His name is El Hadji, rich. So his full name is El Hadji Abdul Kadir Beya. But I'm going to be calling him El Hadji all through this video. So he's rich, respected, and very proud. So here he throws a grand wedding party. This is not his first, not even his second, but his third marriage. So he's marrying a young, beautiful woman to show everyone just how powerful he is. You can see a lot of food, the guests happy, music, dancing, all of that. Everything looks perfect on the outside. But beneath the glitter lies the first crack. Let's move to the next slide. So here, that very night, the wedding night, on his wedding night, El Hadji discovers something he never expected. He can't perform. Yes, El Hadji can't perform. He's struck. Let me not bite my tongue. He's struck by sudden impotence, just like that. So this impotence actually means Sala in Wolof. It means Sala. So now you know where the title is from. So he's embarrassed, confused, but too proud to let anyone know. He tells himself it will pass, but it doesn't. Panic set in. He started thinking, what will I do? What will be the solution? Right? So El Hadji goes from doctor to spiritual healers, to herbalists, to marabouts, spending money and chasing cures. Everyone he meets sees the fear in his eyes and they take advantage. They offer fake solutions to him, soak up his wealth, and laugh behind closed doors. You know, excuse me. So meanwhile, the walls of his world begin to crumble one after the other. It begins to crumble, right? Here, his business suffers. He skips meetings, his once firm handshake becomes shaky. Elijah that will look at someone in the eyes and just shake them. There's no confidence again. His partners, those smiling men in fancy clothes, they start to whisper, they start to gossip about him. They talk behind his back. And soon they kick him out. Like, this guy cannot be part of us. We are done with this guy. They say he's lost his touch, that he's no longer fit to lead. And one thing I heard about when someone is impotent is that I heard it actually affects their whole self-esteem. So you can know what El Hadji is going through here. So just like that, the powerful El Hadji is reduced to a shadow. You can imagine. So right here at home, they are not better at all. I mean, his first two wives, tired and bitter, they see through the performance. His daughter here, Rama, she's sharp, educated, and bold. Speaks the truth to no one wants to hear. She's always saying the truth, like, this thing is not right. This thing, she doesn't even believe in polygamy at all. So she calls out the lies, the fake traditions, and then the empty pride. She's not afraid of her father's name. She's like the new voice of Africa. She's loud about it, like, this thing is not right and we should not be doing it. So now that this is now where the real twist happen. Let me show you. So the real twist comes from a beggar. Yes, a beggar. So this beggar is a man El Hadji once ignored, spat on, and looked down upon. That same man reviews is the one who caused El Hadji with the Salah. Why did he do that? because of his greed. Yes, because of El Hadji's greed, his arrogance, and the way he trampled on the poor while pretending to be a leader. So because of that, this beggar said, I'm going to fight for the poor. He placed the curse on him. So to be healed, El Hadji must do the unthinkable. What do you think he has to do? Guess before I show you the next slide. He has to humble himself. He must humble himself, kneel before the very people he once saw as nothing, the very people he trampled on, the very people he looked down on. He must humble himself, before them. He must beg for forgiveness and accept that this is no ordinary sickness. It is a warning, a punishment, a mirror, to his soul. So he needs to like ask for mercy for him to get better. And finally, when he did that, the Sala is lifted, but the novel, you shouldn't don't expect the happy ending. Yes, I mean the manhood was restored, but he lost everything else. His respect, his reputation, his pride. He stands as a man stripped bare. There's no more respect for him. If an ordinary beggar can put curse on you, there's no more respect, because in the end, I mean, this man did not do well. He didn't do well. You can't be oppressing the poor and expect everything to look fine for you, right? So I believe that the author, Sembene, there is more to this story. He's trying to tell us the things that are happening in the society, how the rich are, oppressing the poor, how they tell you they've gotten independence from the colonial people, the colonial guys, and then they are still doing what those guys were doing before they got independence from them. So Sembene teaches us that the real Salah here is not about the body. It is the moral emptiness, the greed, the greed, the spiritual rot that grows when we forget who we are and who we are meant to serve. The moment we forget about the people we are meant to serve, there's this greed, that comes out of us. Like, I want to own everything, I want to have everything. So that is actually the story of Salah. I hope I explained it well for you. If I did, please give it a thumbs up. And you can also give me a comment to know if there's anything you love me to add. And if there's any other novel you want me to do this kind of video for, please let me know. So right now, I want us to move to the characters. So let's get right into it. Yes, so we are moving into the characters. We are going to be looking at the characters one after the other. I hope you are ready. So, like I said earlier, if you need to jot, please get your notes to jot things down. Are you ready? All right, let's get right into it. So now, first we meet the man at the center of it all, El Hadji Abdul Kader Beyer. This guy, a wealthy businessman in Senegal, confident, flashy, full of pride. He marries a third wife just to show the world he still got power. But guess what? On that very night, life gives him a blow, impotence, a cause that shakes not just his body but his entire image, right? So he's not just a man. This guy here is a mirror of African leaders. So he is representing all African leaders that after independence, they totally forget the people, right? So this guy here is a mirror of African leaders after independence, those who forgot the people and chose power instead. They just want to be on top. They just want to own everything. So if you are being asked to talk about this guy, you already know the things to say, right? Just expand on everything I just mentioned. So let's move to the next character. We have Rama, right? Sharp tongue, my guy. I like the girl. Sharp tongue, bold heart, educated and not afraid to speak her mind. She watches her father and says, no, this isn't how we build Africa, right? She fights polygamy, questions tradition, and speaks truth in a room full of silence. We can say that she is the voice of modern African women. I mean, the modern African women that would not keep quiet. She's strong, she's smart, and she's not backing down. She's ready to give it to anybody. She doesn't care, right? So I like her. If you like her, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so let's move to the first wife, Aja, Awa, Astu. I hope that's how they pronounce it. Okay, so she doesn't say much from her, you can see, she doesn't say much. Her silence speaks volumes. You know, when someone is going through pain and you can't just talk, you just have to just swallow it. You have to swallow it. Aja is loyal, traditional, and quietly hot. You know, she represents the older African woman, faithful to family even when it hurts. I mean, she can't leave her husband. She just wants to stay there, you know, but she's going through a lot. So let's move to the next character. We have Umi Undoye, right? The second wife. This one, you know that this one likes Shakara. She loves wealth, you know, appearance and keeping up with status. I mean, she wants to look good. Everyone will think everything is good at home, but nothing is good at home. Deep down, she too feels the sting of being ignored and the shame of El Hadji's failure, right? She's a reflection of how greed and jealousy can eat away at anyone, you know, whether you are rich or not. Like things are not going well, but those people that say they don't mind crying in a Lambo, you get. So this is who this lady, you know, represents. Let's move to the next character. So we have the third wife, Ngone. Ngone. I love her name. So she's a beautiful, quiet girl. She's barely a woman. I mean, she's young. She's chosen not for love, but for display, just to show that power past power. You know, she's the symbol of how women, especially young ones, are often treated like trophies in a man's story. You know, she's just someone that not like a Haji lover like that. Haji just want to use her to prove to people that I can still marry a young girl. I'm still in vogue, you know, I'm still the happening thing. So this is who this girl Ngone, this is who she represents. How women, especially young ones, are often treated like trophies in a man's story. So let's move to the next character. Okay, so we have this guy, Gogu. Gogu. All right. So this guy is the assistant, El Hadji's assistant. He's always by El Hadji's side, cleaning up his mess. He says little, but does much. This guy, you know, this assistant that they are ready to cover their ogas, what's it called, shame. They are ready to just make sure my oga's secret does not leak. So it shows how some people stay loyal, not because it is right, but because it is easier than asking questions. That's just who this guy represents. He just decided to stay loyal, you know, even though it's not because it's right, but I mean, he doesn't have a choice. So let's go to the next one. Please pardon the background noise. So sorry about that. All right, so let's go to the next character. These ones are characters. The marabouts, the healers, you know, the doctors. So one by one, this guy they promise a cure, but what they really want is his money. That's all. All they really want is his money. They remind us that even culture and religion sometimes can be turned into business if we are not careful. So you should be careful of guys like this, you know. Although let me say I don't blame them. The Elachi guy said they embezzle money anyhow. So let's move to the next one. So we have the lame beggar. This guy, I mean, who could forget the beggar? The lame poor, ignored, you know. But he's the one who holds the real power. Elijah thought he has power. This guy holds the real power. He causes Elijah not out of hate, but justice. You know, he speaks for the voiceless, the hungry, the betrayed. Do you know how many times you just feel like I should just give the president of my country knock? Not me, oh, you. Oh. I can't knock the president of my country. But you know, so that times you just feel like I should just give this guy knock. Does he know what he's doing? So this man, this lame beggar, speaks for the voiceless, the hungry, the betrayed. You know, is the reminder that the ones you step on today might be the ones who will humble you tomorrow. I see how you humbled this guy. You humbled him. Pátápátá. So let's move to the pátápátá means completely. Sorry, I spoke Yoruba. So let's move to the last. So finally, the businessmen, all these El Hadji so-called brothers in power, the people that are embezzling the money together, right? They dress in tradition. You see them wearing their native wears. They speak of African pride. We are going to protect our country, but they act just like the colonizers. Yes, that's the word, colonizers. I was saying colonial the other time. Colonizers before them. They act just like the colonizers before them. They are corrupt, greedy, pretending to lead while secretly stealing. They show us the painful truth that independence without integrity is just a change of clothes. Honestly, if you said that we have gotten independence and there's no integrity, it's just you changing your clothes. It's still the same you. Nothing has changed, right? So, these characters, each one of them, they are not just names in a novel. They are voices, they are faces that we are seeing in the society. You know, so it makes you to, like, you hear echoes of them in every society that forget its roots. They are there, they are around you, and every leader who forget his people, right? So now the next thing we are moving on to is the themes. I hope you're not tired. If you're not tired, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't given me a thumbs up before, give me a thumbs up right now. And please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Please just click on that subscription button. That's how you can support me. That's how you can, help me to be encouraged to do more. Thank you. And please share with your friends. So if you have friends that you feel they also need to watch this video, they are reading this book maybe for their exam, please share with them. Okay. Thank you. Subscribe. All right, let's move to the themes. So the first theme, okay. So like I said earlier, in this novel is not just a novel, it mirrors what is happening in our society. So in each of these themes, there's something for all of us to learn. And I want you to be open-minded. So yeah, the first theme here is the hypocrisy of the African elite. They wear the boo, they speak big grammar about African first, but behind the scenes, see how they are laughing. Look at the poor at the door, at the entrance, looking at them. Look at how they are looking good. Look at what they are wearing. You know, they are doing the same things the colonizers did, chasing power, chasing money and praise, while the poor suffer in silence. So that's why it's called hypocrisy of the African elite. These guys are hypocrites. There's what they tell you they have, but there's what they are doing behind doors. Do you get? So if you want to talk about this thing, you can use El Hadji as an instance. El Hadji and his business friends dress like proud Africans. Look at what they are putting on. They are Africans, but living like mini colonizers. They say they are for the people, but the people are nowhere in their plans. So that's the face of hypocrisy. I hope you understand that. So let's move on to the next theme. The next theme is false independence. False independence. Sorry, it should be independence, not in. So we have false independence. Independence came, flags changed, but did the people truly become free? No, no. See them having meeting here. They got the independence, but still the people, they didn't become free. So you see, El Hadji and his crew may have kicked out the French, but they kept their ways. Foreign banks, foreign languages in meetings, and zero concern for the everyday man on the street. That's not freedom. That's like a costume party pretending to be progress. Yeah, there is no freedom. So we have false independence here. It's false independence in the sense that the independence is not true. They just say they have independence, but it is false. They are not even living in it. They are still living like they are living under colonizers. So these guys are like mini colonizers. I hope you'll be able to explain this if you have been asked in your exam. Please, if you have questions, do well to comment. I'm going to answer your question, okay? So moving on to the next thing, we have corruption and greed. Ah, greed. See plenty money on the table. Dis guys embezzling money. Greed is like the quiet disease that eats from the inside out. So Alhaji here built wealth not to serve anybody but to shine, to show that I have money. I'm the happening thing. So he marries a third wife not for love, it's greediness. Because you already have two wives, my friend. I know, like, okay, maybe African tradition polygamy is allowed, but for God's sake, you have two wives, why not spend the money on other people and let people enjoy, let the mass enjoy. So he marries a third wife not for love but to prove a point. And when trouble comes, those same men clapping at his wedding, they vanish. That's what happens when leaders care more about pockets than people. The whole country pays the price. They are just embezzling money, and people are out there, they're just wallowing in debt, wallowing, they're just suffering. So that's one of the themes. So if you're talking about themes, you should talk about corruption, how these guys embezzle money, how they're using the money for themselves alone, how they're just greedy. Okay, so let's move to the next theme. We have gender and power. So gender and power, we can see here that there's what's it called now, gender inequality here. It's like men who rules the world. Men. Exactly. You know, in this world, men rule, and women are often pushed to the side. They are used, controlled, and ignored. That's exactly what we saw in that book. So Elijah marries Ngone, a very young girl, a girl young enough to be his daughter, just to show off. That's misuse of power. You get, and it's also gender inequality. So you can also use that to buttress your point. His other wives, they were pained, silenced, but then, thank God for Rama. His daughter, she speaks, she questions, she refuses to bow. In her voice, we hear the cry for justice, not just for women, but for dignity. So she'll be able to explain more about this particular theme. So let's move to the next theme. So the next thing we have pride and downfall. I love this one. See man flaunting. I married a second wife. Look at the second slide. Baba, you cannot perform. Right? So pride, can dress a man in gold and still lead him straight into disgrace. Exactly what just happened here. Elijah stands tall at his wedding only to fall flat by nightfall, struck by Xala, impotent, broken, exposed. Let me not say good for him. So let me also say that, please, these pictures, they just to portray what I'm teaching you. Because you might be thinking, oh, this Elijah's picture is different from the one I use in the other slides. Please just understand that it's just to teach you just to explain further. So this guy, struck by Salah, yet instead of humbling himself, he hides it, spends and lies until everything crumbles. His story shows us that pride may lift you for a moment, but it will bury you in the end. Yes, it will bury you in the end. And look at how it buried him, right? So let's move on to the next thing. I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and I hope you can jot out some things from this video and build on it. Let me tell you one secret that you can do. Whatever you're able to jot down on this, right? Jot it down. If you know how to use Claude AI or any language AI, maybe like ChatGPT, if you know how to use it well, you can just put all the notes that you jot from this video, put it on it, and then ask it to help you elaborate it that in preparation for your exam, and you will be able to do that. So let's move to spiritual justice, the next thing. Please, if you have not subscribed yet, please, you are wrong. Subscribe right away, right away. Thank you. So there is a justice that doesn't come from the courtroom. When you hear justice, what comes to your mind is justice in court. This particular justice did not come from courtroom. It's from life itself. It's from life. Elijah insulted a beggar, mocked the poor, but in the end, that same beggar held the key to his healing. Not with money, not with power, but with humility and remorse. You must humble yourself by fire by force. So that's the kind of justice you can't buy. And it always find its way back. It always find its way back. So we have spiritual justice here. And let me do two more before I end the video. So here we have the struggle between tradition and modern life. That's what it means when I say tradition versus modern. It's like the struggle between tradition and modern life. You can see this guy, this El Hadji, wearing his agbada with and barefooted in this kind of environment. So that's the struggle between tradition and modern life. So what happens when people try to blend tradition with borrowed culture? Sometimes it just doesn't mix. That's exactly what Elijah was trying to do. And I'm an African man. Still, you are still doing what the colonizers were doing. So Elijah here wears African clothes, but runs his life with foreign ideas. He clings to customs like polygamy, which is African, but follows Western systems for business. It is messy, confusing, and it shows how copying blindly can make us lose who we are truly. Makes us lose who we are. Imagine we Africans, we are love beings. We are a big community that we born together. You are now acting like colonizers, treating your people badly. Now he had to like humble himself before them. So let's move to the last thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. So now, oh, there's a mix up here. So this last scene is not gender and power, please. Is the voice of the youth and women. Please correct that. I'm so sorry. The voice of the youth and women. That's what I want to talk about here, not gender and power. The voice of the youth and women. So this lady here represents Rama. Mhm. You know, is like the voice of the youth and women in this particular novel. In the noise of the old world, a new voice rises. Younger, bolder, wiser. So Rama, with her beautiful afro hair, her education and her courage, stands firm against the systems that no longer work. She challenges her father not with insult, but with truth. That dad, this is how things should be done. So she's like the future, the kind of voice that doesn't just echo but shakes walls. This is how things should be done. This is what I stand for. This is how we should do things. So she's the voice of the youth and women. So for every theme that you mentioned, first of all, tell us the meaning of this theme and tell us how this theme reflects in the book. Okay? So that will be all in this video. So you see that Sala is not just a book, it's a mirror. It's a call. It reflects what is happening in our society. It speaks of nations. It speaks of us. So we should also check ourselves, our choices, our silence, our pride, and most of all our power to change, so we can change. Imagine how El Hadji, he changed and everything, his manhood, God restored. So that'll be all in this video. Please do well to share with your friends. Please share with your friends, subscribe to this page, switch on your notification bell. I'm going to see you in the next class, okay? And check out other videos on my page. you know Thank you. Bye.